Well, hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the TypeScript Tea Time. I'm your host, Mirko, and hope you're having an awesome day today. Let's fix the camera ever so quickly. That's better. Weirdly enough, my camera always starts in a very, very dark mode, and then OBS starts in a very, very dark mode. And only when I open the properties for the camera scene or source, then it applies the light correction. Don't ask me why. Yeah, so welcome back. This is the TypeScript Tea Time. I'm your host, Mirko, and today we're going to work with AWS step functions, most likely. I'm just, first of all, I'm going to start with some planning and explaining what I intend to do, and a bit of motivation maybe. And then hopefully we get to then we're actually going to do some planning on how we are going to implement this project. And after that, I suppose we might get into actual programming, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Probably using AWS CDK, the Cloud Development Kit. Anything else? No, I think that's it. So from a motivation perspective, maybe you've heard of the service MailChimp, or there are a couple of these companies like those. Basically, you can send emails. Can we do this in English, maybe? Basically, they are a service to allow you build newsletters in particular, but also more, in fact, for your shop or e-commerce website and so on, but also for blogs. And one thing that I think about is building this for the blog of a friend of mine, basically rebuilding it. It provides you with a lot, in fact, basically a couple of workflows. They provide you with automation for websites so that users can actually register and unregister and whatnot. All of that. Also a visual editor for creating your emails, your email templates, and so on and so on and so on. So everything around emails. And I want to do something similar. Probably not the part where you can actually. Good morning, Sodium. Good to see you. Hey, yeah. How are you doing? Probably not the part that is actually about templating or creating template emails, but most importantly, the sending and not sending and registration and whatnot. Motivation. So on the one hand, I do have a friend who's actually interested in this because MailChimp poses some registration, some limits on you. Like you have to use the banner that they provide if you're not on a paid plan and so on. And to get around that, that's useful. Other than that, I want to use step functions. So, Sodium, to see you again. In the long run, for orchestrating the code that I have for the startup that I might be doing. So step functions being a service that sounds like AWS Lambda, but it can actually be everything you like, pretty much. It's a service for building workflows, as you can see here. Basically, this is a state diagram. Can I zoom out a bit? Maybe, Sodium, have you heard of AWS step functions before? So, for example, a user request comes in, and then this function gets invoked. So, a user request comes in via an API request, and then this function gets invoked. First, we make a choice. In this case, I make a choice whether the name property is existent in the input, and whether it's a string and it is not empty, as you can see here. And depending on whether this is true or false, we either call this function here, or we call this other, or we call this part of the workflow here, which is actually fairly complex. Or we call this very, very simple one, which is just a lambda function that actually just prints out hello world, while in this case, essentially this is a lambda function which says not hello world, but instead hello name. In a very, very complex way, but with this visual editor. You might be seeing here, you see something like DynamoDB. With only this visual editor, and actually having set up the table in DynamoDB, I can create a workflow that saves something into DynamoDB, then waits 5 seconds, then gets something from DynamoDB and puts it into a lambda function to say, hello, Peter, or whatnot. So this was kind of a learning project, and in fact, this is going to be a learning project too. So this is for automating, step functions is for automating workflows. You do that with state machine, or writing some state machines. And then it integrates with pretty much everything on AWS. The simplest ones being AWS Lambda, but you can push something to simple notification servers to send emails, for example. Or you could, I don't know, you probably have something with SageMaker in here. So you could create an endpoint automatically just by running this workflow, or create a training job to retrain your machine learning model, and so on, or transformations and whatnot. And it integrates pretty much with everything. You can also have like EC2, so create new instances using these workflows and so on. So there's a lot of automation that can be done and orchestrated with the help of step functions. And in fact, today I noticed the following. If you search in here, you have a list of all the AWS, or most, let's say, most AWS services. So for example, SES create. So SES is the simple email service. And you see here, oh, it has a API function called create contact. And then you can even see a very, very small piece or a summary of what this endpoint actually does, and a link to the documentation. In fact, this might actually be the only place where you have such a nice overview and easy summary on the whole AWS platform and in the docs to see the documentation, which is kind of sad. It would be great if the documentation would provide you with such an easy way, but, well, the functions can do it. So this might actually just be useful to create one simple state machine to use this kind of search for different services and linking to the documentation and so on. So what I want to do with it is create user flows to essentially have a email newsletter. And you can see here so these are the things that I need to do. So users need to be able to subscribe to the email newsletter. Legally, they also are. I'm also forced, I think, to let them be able to unsubscribe, or otherwise it will actually get me into trouble if I don't allow this, right? Then, if I have a blog, for example, I need to find a way whether I should send a new newsletter email. So, for example, I could check the blog's, what is it? RSS feed on a schedule to check whether it should send an email, and then trigger this other workflow if I need to send an email to actually send the email to all the users that I want. And orchestrating this is actually kind of hard if you want to do this. AWS Lambda, well, in particular, if you want to build serverless backends, this can be actually hard to orchestrate. Like, first comes this, then comes that, then comes that, then comes the other one. But AWS step functions makes this fairly simple. You see me here, for example, for this was the subscribe part. So does that, first of all, did I miss anything for a newsletter, like blog newsletter? If so, please tell me. Is the use case halfway clear? So I will continue. First of all, choose. So for example, for the subscribe, let's say the user somehow on your web page you have like a form, and there you can put in your email and then click the subscribe button, or maybe have a check mark for I accept the terms and services or something like that. In that case, you can use, for example, API Gateway to actually have this endpoint. So you send a post request to API Gateway, and API Gateway, so which is a service on AWS, which provides you with, well, API endpoints, and then forwards it to specific other services. And one of these services could be a step function. So what we can do fairly easily, and with this graphical editor, with step function is, for example, writing the email address and the accepted date into a DynamoDB, then do some email verification, like send an email to the person with another link, which would probably be a Lambda function in this case. That part I have not specified yet. So this triggers another Lambda function, or after we've saved the information about the user, we trigger another Lambda function, which then sends an email to the user and waits, for example, until the user clicks the link in the email, which then continues to actually create the context so that we are allowed to actually send them, and maybe sends them a welcome email, which, if you want to do this all manually, it's not going to be that easy. But so we still have to be aware of that. We still have to create all of this fun stuff, like the table, and write the Lambda function ourselves that sends this email, and set up SES, so simple email service, to exist. Like set up our domain. But actually calling those API endpoints and calling the Lambda function with this endpoint and that endpoint, and then putting something into DynamoDB and so on, that we can do with AWS step functions. And we have this fairly nice graphical overview to do so. So we don't need to we don't actually need to look at code. We can instead sit down with our business people and just say, okay, essentially what I have done here, we can do completely in step functions if we wanted to, so that we can communicate with the business people on a common level, which is actually phenomenal, to be honest. Yeah, so that's pretty much the subscribe part. If somebody wants to subscribe to our newsletter, different pronunciation. For unsubscribing, this is going to be actually fairly simple. We probably just need to, again, have something that we can call, like an API endpoint, which then acts as a trigger for our workflow. So somehow the newsletter user needs to be able to actually trigger something inside of AWS, and one way to do this is via an API gateway endpoint. And in that case, we want to, for example, first delete the contact from simple email service, and then delete the user inside of DynamoDB, because we kind of double saved them for compliance. Because you can, I think you cannot. I would need to look some more into SES. Maybe we just need this part, but maybe not. Maybe we need this DynamoDB part. Yeah, so that's the idea. Other than that, what I want to do now is do something like plan the should send newsletter plan here. This I think will get just triggered on a schedule, I suppose. And then we send emails for that day, because this one. So when should we send a new newsletter? On a new blog post in our case, in the case that I'm working on essentially. And this we can just like, this doesn't happen too often, right? So what I think suffices is we have like something like cron job. So we do it on a schedule. Every, I don't know, half a day we check, is there a new blog post inside of the database or inside of the service that we're using in the RSS feed or something? If so, then send a new email to all the subscribers. And that's what I want to model now. So, oh, that didn't work. So we call this on a schedule with the service that I'm probably going to be using is AWS Event Bridge that can just send events and then trigger stuff. And then I want probably a Lambda function. Is Lambda not showing up? That number one, like get RSS feed. So then, so we could do this in a single Lambda function, or we could create another Lambda function. I'm not sure 100% yet. I think we need two things, right? So on the one hand, we need the RSS feed, but on the other hand, we need to have a way, DynamoDB. So how do we determine whether a new blog post is? What I think about is RSS feeds. Example. Do we have an example? New to AWS, what does Lambda function? Lambda just executes code essentially. It's basically like your JavaScript function, but it is a complete deployed function. So if you go inside of your code and you write something like export.handler, in this case, it is a function that, let's say, receives maybe nothing and just returns new as random to generate a new random function, random number, and you want this to be actually as a service. Then you can basically take exactly this, and we can just do it, right? And to go together here to AWS. Oh no, that didn't. And then I go to Lambda. So it is a service of AWS. And it's just a function, essentially, but it is deployed. So if we go to create function up here, which you could not see because it's up there, there's a button, create function. And I click on it. We can author it from scratch. We could also use some other stuff, but I will just use the basic stuff. Give it a name, get random number, create a function. Maybe you've heard of the name serverless functions. Maybe you've heard of functions as a service somewhere. That's all the same. It's all the same. Lambda is just the name that they use. So here we have a very, very simple JavaScript code. So it exports a variable called handler, and that's the only thing that's basically normed in a sense. You just have to have this handler function, and then it is a function. And now you can do whatever you want and respond with pretty much whatever you want. We could do something like const random num is equal to math dot random comma a semicolon, and then we just return something like this, random number. So let's deploy this, and now it is somewhere in the cloud, and we can just run this function, like say so this is just a test event. We don't actually need to provide anything in this case, because we our function does not take any inputs, or we do not use the inputs. And if I test this now, it returns exactly what what the function should have done. It returns me a random function, and if I do it again, it runs again, and it is now deployed. So I can call this piece of code from anywhere inside of AWS, or as long as I have permissions to actually call it. Or I could put an API gateway in front of it, or an API endpoint in front of it using API gateway, and then just call it. Maybe we can do that, API gateway. Maybe I zoom out a bit. The API gateway being a service that provides you with HTTP, or with a URL, and then something that it does invoke. So we want an HTTP API in this case. We call it tTime demo. Next, configure routes. I want to add a route. Can I not do it? Okay, apparently not. Configure stages. Fine. Review. Yeah, sounds good. Do it. And from there, I think haven't used the hey Kitten Oprah. Welcome in.
Kitten _ Opera joined our tea time.
How are you doing? Have you worked with AWS, or what are you working on? But haven't used the UI too much, so I need to figure out routes. I think can create a new run. Let's say /random, and we call it get. And now we have to set I think an integration. The integration is the backend resource that this route calls. So I click just on attach one, attach, and then I want a lambda function. I call get random number, and I say create random the permission, and that's it, I think. And now we just have to find where the I think I need to write deploy stage. Is it yes. So if you go to this function /random, you get the result. That's it. It's that easy to deploy these days. Please try it out. It's open for you as well. And you get a new one. You're a React developer. Hey, nice. We're doing a lot of React Native from time to time on stream here. Currently, however, I'm more on the backend side again. I'm always switching, like a bit of infrastructure, a bit of front end, a bit of back end, some game development. So yeah, I like to be open to all of that fun stuff. So what's your random number? Feel free to post it in the chat. You can just call it again and again, and you get a new number. And that's how easy it is to deploy something that runs JavaScript code inside of the cloud, as long as you do not use anything like node modules. Then it becomes slightly more complicated, but it's still fairly simple. But I would suggest you then use another service or another layer of abstraction to actually do the deployment for you and do all the build steps and all of that fun stuff. You want to learn AWS. If you want to do that, I can very much suggest you this Coursera course, which was very, very useful to get the first steps. And it's for free. You have to, however, log into. That was very, very good. It is from the officials. Is it? Wait. Is that the right one? It is official from AWS. Plains 100 is one of the big ones. Definitely, you will see them a lot in AWS stuff. So that is a very, very good way to start learning basics of AWS. And then you have to build. Seriously, build. Otherwise, at least for me, it will always be like, did I really understand what I'm doing? Yeah. So, from that out of the way, that's a very, very simple way to just call code that does some function, that does something, written in JavaScript or in Python or in whatever. There are a couple of, I think .NET is also supported by now. Java, Python, Go, it might still be in preview, but I don't know. Maybe it's out of preview. So, from there, so going back here to our newsletter, we want to figure out whether we have a new blog post. And what I think we have is this kind of XML, which is an RSS feed. Never seen it. It looks pretty much like this. It is just XML, or a type of XML, but it provides some specific things. In particular, it has these items which have like a publish date that you can parse, and a title, which is the name of, for example, the blog post, a description of the blog post, a link to the blog post, very, very useful, like a category, and maybe like an image also inside of there, for the main image, that we can then, if we have this kind of information, we can put an email together that is saying, hey, there's a new blog post about RSS solutions for restaurants, or there's a new blog post about RSS solutions for schools and colleges, and so on and so on. And maybe include the image and all of that fun stuff. And in fact, MailChimp does that. MailChimp does exactly that. You can use... I want English. Right. They have like documentation here. A blog post with MailChimp. English, please. So here you can provide just this this feed URL, and it's typically like /sample.rss or something like that. It's like a fairly normalized way to do it, and then we can fetch from there, and inside of our templates, so the email template that we want, you can have specific but I do not, yeah, I think that's it. Well, where is it? Dynamic content. Yeah, at least there are ways to just put inside of the email template that you have the RSS information by just providing like a template or placeholder inside of there. And that's pretty much what I want to do as well. So first we get the RSS feed. And now, as I've said, there are a complete list, and we want to check whether there's a new one. So we have to somehow know what was the last one. Maybe. So we could just check for the last 30 minutes. Get RSS feed. Maybe another lambda function. So has new RSS, has new item within last 30 minutes is another lambda function which you can do. We could also do this in just one single function. It's absolutely possible. For now, I just write it like this. There is a way that you can do choices. We probably have to transform this into JSON, however, or continue. So XML or RSS to JSON, so that we can actually, inside of JavaScript, because it's just so much easier to work with JSON instead of XML. Let's confirm this, convert this into JSON. Then we check whether it has a new item within the last 30 minutes. And from there, we can have like a choice. Have like choice? Yeah, there is one. This is an item inside of step functions, which we can just use, like here it is, the choice state. So where's my, there it is. So this one calls this choice. Choice. And then we can goes that direction and otherwise end. So this is the end state. After that, nothing happens. And if we have another item, we invoke, in fact, another step function. I think. There's no step function icon. So this is going to be the function workflow send newsletter. So we can orchestrate all of our code just basically using this such a visual editor, which is pretty Swedish. Have you worked with any kind of infrastructure stuff, Sodium? If so, that will be very very helpful. AWS can be, or all of these infrastructure providers, I think. There is a level of complexity to it. Don't worry about it. It's kind of natural, right? You start with your stuff, and at some point you notice, oh, now I could use something else, and then you extend your knowledge, right? So yeah, AWS, the hardest part I find is policies, or all of this, what they call IAM, identity and access management. This is like the hardest part of AWS, if you ask me. And unfortunately, it is also the part that you have to master, that you have to understand to a degree before you actually start anything, because everything uses it. So this is a very, very important one to get right. And then the second important one, if you want to start with something like EC2, which is just the virtual machines from AWS, but they always use bad naming. Then you have to actually start with networking in AWS. If I remember correctly, the course that I've sent you, if I remember correctly, they do have sections on both. Do they? I hope they do. Kind of forgot. Let me double check. I actually did all of these, but for whatever reason it doesn't show. This is the basics. Nothing inside of there. There was also a fairly cool Twitch course. Oh, let me not use this one. Yeah, here they go a bit into networking, availability zones, regions, all of those fun stuff, like in week 2. Was that it? Permissions inside of here. This course is for both for developers as well as for business people, so they don't get really in the nitty-gritty, but it's just an introduction. But from there you can get into more stuff. The cloud practitioner is one of the levels that they have for certifications. It's the first one, essentially. Practitioner. And it is a good idea to actually understand the stuff that they want from you there. Let's start here. You can also check this one out. And there is like a Twitch course for that. I can't find it. Certified schedule. It was like a challenge, and they are doing a challenge from time to time. Can't find it, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately I can't find it. Twitch, AWS Get Certified Challenge. AWS Power Hour. That's it. Go check that one out. They stream on Twitch until September 16 apparently. So you still have a couple of days, and they provide it as a VOD. You can see it forever and ever and ever. Networking can be in any event. Where were we? Was I about to yeah. So once we have the new item, we can also pass the item and then invoke the workflow with the pass the new item. Invoke the new item with exactly the stuff that we need to actually send the newsletter. So what we do to determine whether we need to send a new newsletter email is we get the RSS feed from the blog, and a lot of blogs, by the way, automatically publish this. We go to dev.to and just pick a random one. Do they have like SES? There it is. Look. So they do it as well. And we could, for example, have an email newsletter also for them if we wanted to. Here they have pub date Sunday, so like 2 hours ago apparently. And here we have one at 15. Oh, it's +00, so it's like 20 minutes ago. And we see in fact the complete article here, I think. Category programming, beginners. So if we wanted, we could just look at the DevTO RSS feed. DevTO is a blog platform. And check for all the stuff that is inside of the beginners category. And then we can send ourselves emails or notifications, email notifications, for example, whenever we have a new blog post inside of the beginner category, using this RSS feed. So I will also probably actually, we can use that for debug data. I don't dox too much. Doxing is fun, but you should do it carefully. Like link. That's not a link. How do I do a link here? DevTO, draw.io. How do I do a link? Edit link. Okay. Apply. And then I want to make you blue. And underlined. So, like that. And now, from there, we want to trigger this last one, send newsletter. And that's another one. Sorry right now, but in fact, I probably will just duplicate this workflow here. Then here, oh, I took the wrong one. Send newsletter is actually invoked. What happened? Okay. Now we're good. Invoked by this one. I forgot one more thing. I think we need to go to end state after that. So it has to end somewhere, right? The waypoints. All right. The no path. Why do you make the text terrible? select text and not underlined. This is the S and pass the ID. All right. And from here, we actually call this one from this workflow. So what I'm just going to do is maybe I do over to here, and then we say this, and we call to this one is should send newsletter. Yes. Then invoke. So, what does this one need to do? Quickly do it out of here. First, we want to. So we receive input is the new newsletter or new blog post as JSON, and from there invoke input. I hope that's actually possible, that we can actually do it that we can actually pass the input over to this sub workflow in a sense. New blog post item as JSON, and from there what we are going to do is I think we will trigger SES. SES send email. Send templated, probably what we want. Custom verification email. Oh, it's an email address to the list of identities for your SES account in the current, and attempts to verify it. As a result of executing this operation, a customized verification email is sent to the specified address. Oh, very nice. This one we need for. Sorry that I'm jumping, but this one we actually need right here. So this is going to be. What just happened? Send custom verification email, most likely. Anyway, let me just put this right there now, so we don't forget it. So what is the? I haven't used send email server, the simple email server SES that much yet. Meaning not at all. Meaning not at all. Send raw email, send bulk email might actually be it. Composes an email message to multiple destinations. Oops. Send email. Sends an email message. You can use the Amazon SES API v2. Send the following types of messages. Simple. Come on. Standard email message. When you create this type of message, you specify the sender, the recipient, and the message body, and SES assembles the message. I want to have a templated email. Is that only possible with version 1? By the way, how is the audio quality? I'm trying to be closer to the microphone recently. What I fear, however, is that because I don't have a plop protection, is that what it's called? Like this filter that removes the P's and the keys and everything that, or the case, everything that like explodes in your mouse and puts a lot of pressure on the microphone membrane, meaning it might actually do like and crizzle and whatnot. If you can give me some feedback there, because I think about at some point getting a plop protector, and I would like to know whether I should do it fast or quickly, or whether I can just wait some more. And bulk templated email. That sounds reasonably correct, right? Compose an email message to multiple destinations. The message body is created using an email template. That sounds correct. Call the... not sure what this is. Maybe it's because I'm zoomed in. No. I don't know. That's apparently a bug. Let's look at the documentation. Link. And there we go. Directly into the API documentation for it. Composing. So, as you have seen, as I've said at the very beginning, I don't know SES too much, but still I can pretty much understand what SES can do and cannot do by just using the search inside of simple step functions to see the API. This is an email message to multiple destinations. The message body is created using an email template. Can create templates using create template. That's something that will be set up prior. If your account is still in the SES sandbox, you may send only to verified addresses or domains, or to email addresses associated. Okay. I kind of understand that, why they are doing it. Request parameters. Figure set name. Default template data is probably what we need then. Template data. Default list of replacement values. To apply to the template when replacing data is not specified in the destination object. These values act as a default or fallback option. So we probably need this. And some more. I'm not sure what a destination is. All of the recipients in the destination receive the same version of the email. Oh, so we have to add people to a destination. That's one more thing that we need to do down here, I think. So create a contact, send an email, and we also want to parallelize now, parallel, and say add email to destination. And I also want you to go over to here to say that worked not. That did not work with. And bulk templated email. Alright. So actually don't need any of these. That or that or that or that or that. And or that. That. And is that all we need to do for this workflow? If so, we might actually just push it into the other one. Come on, here are the waypoints. Why? what kind of arrow is that? There we go. Okay, all right. If that is the only thing that it does, I would probably just push it inside of there. So let's check the SES destination. Get suppress list, delete, create, configuration set. Suppress list. How do I configure put suppressed, list suppressed, destinations? Maybe we do that during adding somebody as a contact. That might also be possible. I don't know. I would need to check that one before actually. Maybe we can just do it now. SES destination. AWS SES destination. Represents the destination of the message consisting of two CC and BCC. Oh, okay. That's the destination. Okay, all right. I thought there would be another abstraction layer so we can have like groups for the subscribers, but I don't think there is anything like that. At least not from first view. Right, cool. Sweet. So that's all of our stuff actually mapped out. Now we can go, and as you can see, I have no code in here, which is kind of scary. I have no code even though I'm doing AWS stuff. We might actually want to codify actually the deployments of this table and of the step functions probably itself and the SES setup, but we don't need to, theoretically. So let's try to do at least this basic thingy here. One. So let's create a new state machine. We design it with the workflow, and I just use the standard one. No need to go express. And welcome to the studio. Yeah, thank you for doing that for the 10th time or something. And now we can pretty much move this over into this. For that, I'm just going to do DynamoDB first. I'm going to put an item. And let's see. Inside, so we need to provide a table name, and I need to create the table, the corresponding one, to actually. So it must exist before I use it. Otherwise, we will just get nothing. Concerning permissions, fortunately, join you in a bit. Having dinner. All right. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you for the heads up. So table name. Let me think here for a second. Maybe before we do this, we can actually let's never mind. Never mind. So where is my function here? So I'm going to call this this table sub or newsletter subscriptions, and I also want to put this right here. Oh, I already did. Ah, very good, yeah. go me. And then it's going to put email, which is a string, and it says, so we have to use a kind of weird, oh, you cannot see, okay, sorry. So table name is going to be so I'm configuring now how the put item API call will look like. Hey View, I go to Netto for a beer. I'll take one. I would love some. It is Sunday. Oh, you lucky dude. In Germany, everything is closed on Sundays, so you cannot buy anything. It is terrible. I cannot get my beer, but I do want one. Get one for me too. Thank you, and welcome in. Welcome in. So, I provide the table name, which I do have to create. I then provide the data that I actually want to store inside of the DynamoDB. DynamoDB is very, very similar to MongoDB in that you can just provide stuff. Yeah, it is terrible. It is terrible. In particular, once you've seen the alternative, Japan is like you have 24-hour access, 7 days a week. There are so many 7-Elevens out there and family marts and whatnot, like convenience stores, which are really just 200 meters away from every house that you can have. And you can go there at midnight. You feel like, I want a chicken wing. And then you just go to 7-Eleven and they have chicken wings at 5 o'clock in the morning. Why not? And then you get the chicken wings. It is completely different. And here you're like, oh, I mean, I live in the city, so it's still okay-ish. But still, in Denmark, work on Sundays, they have 3 days free. Seriously? It's awesome. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. As a entrepreneur, I work Sundays and I work 3 days of the week, and the other 4 days of the week too. Wait, 5 days. Or I don't, if I don't want to. So here we have to do like a weirdish syntax to actually provide the value, which is coming from the input. So S dot dollar means you provide a string into the email, and then you do $dollar.email, which looked at the import property email. So we get some input from outside in this case. Can use like a pass to verify all of this fun stuff. In this case, I just want to have a static property called email for debugging, most importantly. And I put something like, let's say, hello at example.com. Then I also want to have like data privacy policy accepted date should be, let's say, 2022 0 wiki ISO 83601. Thank you. So why I go here is because it has an ISO string right there. So I don't need to think. No need for a comma. Anything else that we need? I want privacy policy accepted at. Accepted at. Which might be important, maybe not. Do I need a UUID? I don't think I do. So I just take the email. Alright, so we provide these two values. Must be a valid JSON. I think I have a trailing comma. Alright, so these should get put into DynamoDB. And now we have to provide yet another column. The other column is called accepted privacy policy accepted at. It is of type string dot dollar, because it's a dot dollar is necessary, I think, because we provide a dynamic value, and then we say privacy policy accepted at which comes from the input, which is passed down from here. So usually this will get triggered by this is currently just for debugging, but typically this will be triggered by the API gateway. So yeah, I think we can also have like choice to validate at least slightly. Oops, no, that was not what I wanted. Control Z works, by the way. Rule 1, head condition, it has a value $.email is present, and $.email is meta string email validation regex. Oh boy. Fuck off. Simple. Seriously? Emails are so terrible. Gotta say. Let's see. Let's do a simple one. regex 101. Hello at example.com. So it has to have like some character, any character. Oh. Any dot star at dot star dot, and then one of three. These are all in range ABC, I think, and then we want 3 of them. Oops. How did I do like 2 or 3? Ah, 4 more. There are by now emails that have like .movie and so on, right? Okay, so let's just do .star. And this should not match at example.com. It does. .star dot. We have to escape the dot. So I want at least one character. Regex at least one character. It suffices for now, I guess. For the very, very basic step. So we want to match like this pattern. It is not perfect, but still. All right, save the condition. You are not happy. No? Why not? Must be a valid JSON. You are not a valid JSON, my friend. Where am I? I think I'm missing like a bracket or something. Yeah. That's item. Okay, now we are good. That works. So if not, just go to end for now. Wait, this should be vice versa, right? How can I switch these? Like so. If the email is present and email is this. Okay, very good. So also we want another one and oh, interesting, you can like nest it. Cancel. What am I doing? What am I doing? Slightly confused about the editor here. I just want another n. Okay, new statement. This one. In here I want to have dot privacy policy accepted date accepted at. It is a present and $.privacy policy. Accepted date matches string. ISO 8601 regex. Incomplete. Boy. See. Let's just say it's of type string. For now. Done. So if that is the case, then put this item. And we put the privacy policy accepted and we put the email. Other than that, we go to SES after this. We create a contact, I think. And contact list name, blog newsletter. We need to create that. And the email is going to be, we need to use the weird syntax again? Yeah, we need to. $email. We also need to specify how that DynamoDB actually just passes the input. So output, we want to add original input to the result path. And in fact, we do not really care about the result that DynamoDB is giving us. We just want to pass on the email. So that's what I'm doing right here with this. Then we create the contact. And I hope that's it. And anything else? Create contact. And then we want to send a templated email to Do I want to do that now? Yeah, I guess. Send templated email. These three will not work until we have actually created the resources that we are referencing. Be aware of that. I hope you were able to see half of what I was doing. My face is kind of in the way right now. It's annoying. So inside of here, I need more tea. I think I just go for a quick toilet break. I also wanted to have a timer that I remember. To take breaks. Let's take a quick break right here. Yeah, in a bit. And back we are with AWS step function. So, for the people who joined in the meantime, we are building a completely... Sorry, my headphones are broken, so that's super weird. We are building a serverless backend for basically cloning MailChimp, which is an email newsletter service. Come on, headphones, please work. You can do it, I know you can. think my headphones are totally done for now. All right. So, and we started with the subscribe workflow. Did I actually call it subscribe? I hope I did. Maybe I didn't. So I need to figure out some more about this template stuff. But template would probably email newsletter welcome. Something like that. Source, I have no idea. So this is going to be to do. This is going to be to do. And you are going to be to do true. Destination value is mandatory. Isn't this like a JSON? Ah, because I'm not using. Right. The setup for SES might actually be more complicated than I'm hoping for. But we will see. So this one, send welcome email. We can just also rename these, so these are actually nicely readable. Save contact. And here we save contact with for data privacy is not the right term. Compliance. And we have a choice, and we have a pass, and that's it. This is basically validation. Simplified validation. And this is just debug input data. Actually, we don't even need this, I think. Let's copy this one over. So we can remove this one, because as soon as we save this, yeah, and we see, by the way, that this generates code. So this is what is actually being deployed, and you can just save this into a repository, which is very nice, and have a codified version of what we programmed up here right now, the state diagram, which is very, very good for infrastructure as code. So to do, it's not supported by step functions. Okay. I guess we remove the U for now. That works. I will. Well, we can just create. So the good thing about AWS, and in particular step function, is that it gives you the right permission. It might not be 100% the most minimal permissions that you can ever get. I don't know exactly. But it will be very, very specified, well, specific already for your state machine, or your step function, so to say. You could also create another one, from yourself by yourself. I'm going to do that for now, because I know what I've created just now is broken anyway. So we can just. The state machine name already exists. Okay, so this is a newsletter subscribe. And I'm going to use like a prefix for all of these, like newsletter and everyone, and then subscribe and unsubscribe, and should send or send, whatever. So now we can execute this. So down here or here on the right one, you see the start execution. And now I can just put in my data. That's why I just removed the mock thingy. And if I do this, I start the execution, it will fire. The cool thing about it is it will actually go inside of here, and we immediately see the results. Step function. It has cancelled in this case. Execution failed. See down here the logs. An error occurred while executing the state. All occurrences of // and star literal must be escaped. Okay, so in this case my validation is wrong. This is annoying, but we can fix that. We go back into the studio, open this one, open that one, and in here I think I need to edit you and make this one a // save. Save and deploy. We can just stick with the one that we already have. The role, yeah. It warns us that if you've changed anything inside of here, in particular if you've added something like a new Lambda function that should be invoked, or a new service that, like a new table that should be accessed, then you will have to recreate your IAM role because the permissions probably won't fit anymore. But it does it automatically and it reminds you, so that's pretty good. Start an execution once more. Put you again. Start the execution. Let's see whether I did the right thing this time. No. An error occurred while executing the state. Simplified validation. Failed to transition out of the state. The state does not point to the next state. Oh. Did I break that one? Very good. No, not very good, but the default rule should go to end. Not supported. Why not? I mean, can also just have a pass right there. Go to pass, then we remove you from there and put you into that one. I want all of you guys to be over there, and this dude should have next one being go to end. That's better. So if this does not match the validation, then go into the other one. So the question is, why did it not match? Let me remove this for a second. So just so we... instead I will just change it into is of type string. It's not perfect, but we at least have some form of validation in a sense. So we should probably validate this more carefully before we actually save this into Lambda. Probably writing a Lambda function that does the validation, it shouldn't be too hard. Alright, so save this one again, save you, start the execution, and this time we should hopefully get into the interesting part. There we go. And you see now, the first one has actually worked, and it went into the second state to the right, and it did not go into the other one. Here it failed. Well, that's kind of expected. It does not, the role does not exist, so. Sorry about that. On the other hand, we can exit and we can do a new one here. And I'm just going to add email 123, start the execution, And we will see, well, in this case, we just went into the pass state and that ended our execution. So pass does nothing in this case. So now let's go into the fun part of creating our DynamoDB table. DynamoDB is a, well, database storage, as the name suggests. Pretty much similar in a sense to MongoDB, but very, very scalable. Like pretty much infinitely scalable. I think it's what drives the Amazon product catalog in particular. No, my headphones. Now we have to create this table with the right name. Table. Are you not inside of here? Table name. There it is. So let's create this table, newsletter subscriptions, and we have to provide compared to MongoDB, we have to provide one like a primary key that is used to not completely identify the item. You could have another key that together then they identify the item. But in this case, the email is just the unique one. So in this case, email is the unique partition key. We can add some more things, if I remember correctly. So other than that, it is schemaless, and it's no provisioning for us. Oh, just getting 5. F5. So that should take only a few seconds. There we go. Why does it say 5? Pickups, global tables, additional settings. So auto scaling off, we don't need to auto scale anything. This affects the pricing in particular. I think the free tier of AWS, when we go to DynamoDB here, database, we have like 25 provisioned read capacity units and write units, so we need to be kind of careful what we're doing. I'm just going to write 1 here. Maximum blah 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 blah, auto scaling off, provisioned 1. That is enough in our use case, I think. Yes. So now we have our table. Didn't I like? Yeah, now it's done. Okay. I think I need to change these two as well. I kind of forgot that. Off and off. Save. So to not to incur any costs for me. That's all. U off, switch U off, and save. And that's Rito. And now we have our serverless table. And if I run our now, that's very important. I have to actually create a proper role in this case. Create new role. Roles, by the way, are for free. Everything with IAM, identity and access management in AWS, is for free, which is very good. So you don't really have to care about costs there. You have to care about security, however, still. So if you run this now, if we run this now, with the input that I provide, right? Like here, we see this went into the save context set, and it already worked. So I have not provided any code, and inside of our table, we now see there it is. No code involved. Very nice. Now, well, this dude does not exist. It says it's not authorized, but it does not exist, in fact. The stuff on the simple email service side. So let's go. So first of all, good job. We can save stuff into DynamoDB without actually writing any code. Very, very useful. And this is readable by pretty much everybody, right? You don't need to be a pro to understand what this is actually doing. So from here, let's see. Next thing that we want to do is we need to set up simple email service. We start apparently by creating an identity. So simple email service is basically an email provider, like you would use with what is it, SendGrid or SendMail or any of those. Sendinblue is another one, and any of those dudes. But instead it's by AWS. So it integrates in particular with all of your existing stack, and you don't have to, or it fits better into the network. You don't have to do any over the network calls. Instead it stays within the AWS network, which is good for security in particular and all of the other fun stuff. Inside of here, so creating an identity is more complicated, I think, than just doing stuff. We can use this one, I guess. TypeScript@gmail.com. Enabling this option ensures that the signed configuration set is applied to messages sent from this identity by default whenever configuration set isn't specified at the time of sending. Let's do that. Okay, there's none. Well, I can accept that. Create the identity. So typically you would provide your domain, right? And not your email. But for the purposes of this demo, I will just use an email. Here. Out. Let me just read the email here. So I'll copy and paste this link here. Congratulations, you have successfully verified an email address. You can now start sending. So the email was very, very, very boring. They just said hi, in which region I am, and that you can copy and paste this link or click on it to verify. So if you have not yet applied for sending limit increase, then you're still in the sandbox environment. Yeah. And you can only send email to addresses that have been verified. To verify this new email address, For domain, see the identity management section. Okay. In the SES console. All right. Got it. Now, what we want to do, let's see here. We have an account dashboard. Your SES account is in the sandbox and yours east. Okay. We don't need production access just yet, I think. We can send currently 200 emails per 24 hours and only 1 email per second in this sandbox. But typically you can, I think, send more. We see our quota, sending statistics in particular, so how many of the emails bounced, how many of the emails actually were received, and so on and so on and so on. Because emails, that's actually a fairly important part, and that's why you typically don't send emails using something like Node Mailer, which is fine for sending. So it's an NPM library for sending emails. It's fine for doing it to yourself, but it's not like production ready, because you will not see how many of the emails were actually delivered, how many were actually blocked by any kind of email providers and whatnot, like Google sending all of your emails into spam, which is not fun. And debugging is less fun. And getting so they have like scores there, how good your emails are, and getting a good score is actually surprisingly hard. So that's why you typically use like something like SendGrid or something like SES. So what we can do is we can go to email templates. So the classic console has been upgraded and replaced. New console experience is designed. Thank you for the information. Okay. So email templates enables you to send personalized messages to your customers. This page provides a list of all your existing templates. To view the contents, use the API operation, get email template. To create, use create email template. Okay, I think we have to do that manually ourselves. So it looks like this apparently. The HTML. Let's take H1. Welcome to the TypeScript Tea Time newsletter. Subject, welcome to TypeScript time. Text. I'm not sure what the difference between HTML and text is. Request body, template content, and template name. We call this welcome. The newsletter welcome. So I think what I've called it, right? Instead of step functions. Do you remember? Well, otherwise we can just edit, and inside of here you should see it somewhere. Email newsletter welcome. That's what we've called it. So, and now we need to find out where are we? Bulk. Here we go. This object here. Contents HTML, the HTML body. And text is the email body that will be visible to recipients whose email clients does not display HTML. Okay, so we say something like this. Can we use like placeholders? AWS SES template placeholder. Apparently we can also set up a rendering failure event. Okay. We do it like this. Very good. What else do we have? We have like, we cannot use the so P, thanks for signing up. Hello name. We do not have the name, we have only the email, right? Well, we can still write email here. \n. Thanks for signing up. You will receive an email notification, an email. This looks actually very good. You receive an email once we go live, let's say. Whenever we go live. Well, this is for a blog, right? Whenever on new blog posts. With this, you will never miss a new blog post. Thanks, the TypeScript T10 team. Sweet. Not sure whether we can actually use \n, but let's hope. Then I need to use the AWS CLI to do this now. The profile is TSTT 2022-09. Region is indeed US East 1. Then we want SES, I hope. And we first of all say help. AWS CLI SES. It is a thing. So inside of here, template, create template, create template. The operation based on the JSON string. How do I use this properly? Minus template structure. Minus template. Oops. Want you. And we probably need something like this then, I guess. Note JSON.stringify. That's not a JSON, right? View remove you, and remove you. And good. We take this, and then we have our email template right there. I can put it right there. Hope that works. Do it. Unknown parameter and template content must be one of. Oh, okay. They have a different format apparently. Ah, great. So what's the format they need? Oh, okay. How do we do this? JSON syntax. Okay. So template name, what he says. HTML, what he says. Text, what he says. I missed almost. And then welcome to TypeScript tea time is the subject string. And now we can part again. That one. JSON stringified. Note. JSON.stringify. Yes, do it. There we go. And hopefully this one works. I can try it. Will it work? Will it work? Oh, it didn't. Copy, paste. Look, it didn't error, which is probably a good sign. So if we go to here and we just refresh this page, there it is. Yay, we did it. Okie dokie. And I like saying okie dokie. Then so from here we're receiving verified identities. What did we provide? For save contact here. Contact list name, blog newsletter. Where do we have the contact list? Contact list? Can create one probably. Suppose there's no way to do it from the UI. At least it doesn't seem like. There is. Are you still with me? Know what I'm doing? Not I can recount. Configuration sets. Cross account notifications. Probably not what I'm looking for. I think we need to create. We need to create a contact list. Create template, create contact. Not there. List, create contact list. Contact. There's nothing with contact in here. AWS SES create contact list. Using list management. Create contact. There's also nothing in here. What's that? Why? Oh, because it's SES v2. SES v2. Would you look at that? Oh, I hope we didn't. I hope this is still valid. We might have used the wrong API version. Let's just hope that these are compatible in the sense that we can still use the email template for the version 2 and stuff. So SES v2, and I'm going to provide this again here. Version 2, create contact lists, CLI input JSON. No, not necessary. Oh wow, it's so complicated. Put subscription status. Try to understand what's happening here. So contact list name. We probably want to name that like we did here, blog newsletter. I think I called it email newsletter in the other one, right? So let's call this one email newsletter. Description. Yeah, that's fine. Topics. It should be default subscription status opt-out, sign in, or description, blog post newsletter, topic name newsletter. Description. Never miss a new is a keyword. Never miss a new keyword by blah blah blah. Get rid of all of these, and I think we can now provide, let's call this SES. And inside of there we put contact.json, create contact list.json, save, CLI input JSON file : SES / do I have to provide the complete path? I don't know. Create contact list.json. Let's try. So I'm in the root directory from here. That has done something. Create a new readme here. Readme dot step functions already there. So readme dot ses dot md. simple email service.md. Just to document what we've done actually. Simple email service, abbreviated SES. So what do we have? We have like create an email template. We have create a contact list. Note, we mistakenly used SES version 1 instead. Probably better to use SES v2. So can we get contact lists? Get contact list. I just want to list all of them. Get contact list. List contact lists. Sounds good. So list contact lists, and I will also link to the respective documentation. Probably useful. Or maybe CLI documentation. So SES version 1 and SES v2. That. So, and if we go back, we see the index. All right, let's run this. There it is. Very good. We have our email and newsletter list. So what I guess is if we get contacts or something like that. Contact. Now I'm in version 1. Let's go to version 2 again. Version 2. By the way, I added this so that you can actually see something. Oh, whoopsie. And we have list contacts. Sounds good. We need to provide a contact list name. We probably have to add somebody to a contact list contact list before we find them or in that list. List contact lists. Oh, that didn't work. List contacts, was it? Yeah. And then minus contact list name. We called it this email newsletter. So if we do this, we see emptiness. Yeah, emptiness. All right. So we somehow have to add somebody We just, okay, very, very nice. That looks promising. AWS minus, actually just copy this. List contacts in a contact list and add contact to a contact list. So we call create, we give it a email newsletter right there. Move all of this fun stuff. But, well, and just normalize this form. Now we write TypeScript etime@gmail.com right there. We can actually give them attribute data. Oh, would you look at that? They already manage all the subscription and stuff for us. Huh. Huh. What did I provide for the... This one is opt-out. So, okay, getting a better understanding here of simple email service. I think all we need to do is actually just create the... No, never mind. What we are doing still makes sense. We save the contact, we save him for compliance, although we could probably also do that on the email level. We send the welcome part. So our workflow is basically these two instead of just doing manual stuff. So as soon as somebody subscribes, I think they are automatically subscribed to the newsletter, the blog post newsletter, because it's opt-out and not opt-in. If I understand this correctly. Let's do this. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, that didn't work either. Come on. Do it. Something happened. If we list all the contacts once more. There was contact lists, my bad. Contacts. There we go. We now see that we have TypeScriptTime@gmail.com has subscribed to newsletter. Subscription status opt-out. We need to understand the SES subscription statuses, I think. Subscription status opt-out. So the unsubscribed landing page will give contacts an option to update their preferences, meaning opt-in or opt-out for all the topics. I think we're subscribed now. If I'm not mistaken. I think us, but I'm not 100% sure. Right. So what are we missing to invoke our step function? We have the email newsletter and we have the email address to save the contact. Sorry. We have. Wait. Did I call the contact list like that? Yes, very good. And then we need to send an email Send welcome. Source, destination. Okay, so we need to look at send email. Let's see. I might have used the wrong version here. Probably need v2. SES v2. Template. Create email template. Get email. Let's take a short moment of break here. So, a big stretch to the top again, and the hands down, moving those arms in a large circle. Now back up. Try to stretch your chest ever so slightly by moving the arms back. So, test render email template. The template and a set of replacement data. Verification email is custom. How do I actually send an email? Create. Send email. Blah blah blah. Not much size, next size, and so on. So, 2. In this case, what do we want? We want, again, all of this fun stuff. We then want to send email for now. Send email, which is probably the right name. Send minus email, there it is. What did I receive an email, by the way? Mail. Oh, okay. And I did not. I did not. Okay, it's fine. So templated, there it is. Okay, so send email, simple, raw, templated. Values that is specify. So minus content we have. Do you have an example of a template email here? So minus content is probably what we need. Let's replace send email here with send email, and the content is going to be something. I don't know exactly yet, but we will find out. We can also click on the API right there. Fortunately, we have it open right here. Wait, was this the... Wait, what? Where did it go? Email template content, create email template. That's the wrong one. Let me Should be able to find this again. Is this version 1? I think it is. So, you here. I think that's the wrong one. That's not working. How did we get to the right page? Confuse it. Send email. Somewhere it said template, didn't it? I'm pretty sure it did. But this is also the wrong documentation. Yes. Email this. I mean, I had the documentation open like a minute ago. Ah, this one. Right? Yeah, okay. Here we go. Oh, the CLI helps us. Simple. We do not have simple, I think. We have... Also, no, we do not have raw. We have template. So we have to provide template name. The name, which is in our case, what did I call it? Menu starter. We then have template ARN. Do I need to use all of them? Name of the template. You will refer to this name when you send email using blah blah. Then we have template data. Do I need to use the ARN? If I use the name, why would I need to use the ARN again? ARN being the unique identifier inside of AWS. Music stopped, music's running again. Email colon it. Here's my email. Do I need to provide you? Contact list. List management options. Let's try it first, then see whether it works. We need to put this one into those parentheses. And do I need another parenthesis? I think I do. Very beginning, we need one. Oh well, the right button. And there. Right, let's try. I mean, worst case is we don't send an email. Error. Following arguments are required. Minus content. Oh yeah, that's what I'm providing. Minus content. Error. Oh, As we do send email minus content. Oh, it's not in the same line. Huh. Well, that makes it difficult there. Error parsing parameter content. Invalid JSON, undetermined string starting at line 1. Okay, so our JSON is wrong. Hey, welcome back. You have ice cream and alcohol. Man, dude. How can you do this to me? Just kidding. Enjoy, man. You've earned it. It's Sunday. Here's to you. I'm having fun. Thanks for spending your Sunday evening with me. Together with alcohol and ice cream. Very nice. So, somewhere in here, in my supposed JSON, it's not a JSON. Oh, that's a name. And is template data is a string. So for your information, I'm currently, I think this one would actually work already if I execute. What I'm doing now, so the saving the contact into the contact list called email newsletter, which I created just now with the CLI. I should really double check whether I have this set so that we don't have to write it all the time. Let me do that in just a minute. So all of the data will be private, so I will be not invisible for like a few, maybe a minute. Be right back. All right, it worked. The good news is I don't have to provide any of this. So all of these can go away. I do need to provide the space. You mean brewing my own beer? That would be actually be pretty awesome. And in fact, I am a friend. I became a friend of fermentation recently. Doing my own like carrots fermentation and cucumber fermentation, which I then just eat as a side dish. Next year, when I'm back from Japan, what I actually want to do is making amazake. Amazake is like fermented rice, which then becomes slightly alcoholic, very, very, very sweet. And you can basically, you need like, you basically just need the rice, the right version of rice. Sorry, the right version of rice, and it's either, if you're lucky, you already have the right bacteria inside of the rice. Otherwise, you have to buy the bacteria additionally, or the whatever it is. I think it's like a version of mold that is then fermenting your stuff. Then you just have to heat it up to like 65 degrees, and you have to hold it right there for like 8 or 12 hours, I think. And then the rice becomes, on the one hand, water gets out. It becomes slightly alcoholic because the sugars inside of there begin to be converted in the It cannot be hotter than 65 or 70 degrees because the bacteria will die, unfortunately. But using your how do you, your off heat, is that the right term? Oh, that didn't work. Your waste heat, to actually do useful stuff, that is actually very, very, very good. Yeah, and I want to make this. I also want to make miso, which is fermented bean paste. And my wife probably wants to make natto, which is sticky fermented beans. And it smells horribly. Self-made. But you can't get it in Germany. Or at least not. Come on, what's happening here? I just want to write. Self-made. You typically put it inside of, or the classic way to do it, they don't show it, is like this. You put it in these rice straw mats. Need to increase production to lower the temperature. Yeah. And it smells horribly. It looks like this, apparently. I've never done it myself, but since she wants to eat it, yeah, that might be. I'm not sure. Maybe we do it once, and it smells like so horribly in the whole flat that we never do it again. Or if we're lucky, it doesn't smell horribly, and we can just make tons of it. Anyway, coming back to email sending here, what I wanted to do right now is turn, so this email thing here needs to be turned into, oops, I'm in German now, okay. This needs to be turned into a JSON. Note json.stringify this dude, which gives us this, which we have to double escape. This one needs to be escaped, and that one needs to be escaped, I think. And then we do this. We have another one that needs to be JSON stringified. Yes, do it. Oh, syntax error. Ah, wait. So, is that a, yeah, that's a string now. Okay, perfect. JSON.stringify. You have to actually invoke it. And then it looks like this with a lot of quotes. But I hope that does it. Like so. Destination, not necessary, I think. And this time, please work. JSON received, minus content, invalid JSON, expected, comma, delimiter. Aww. Aww. JSON error parsing parameter content. Invalid JSON. Expecting a comma parameter? What do you think about i7 for gaming only versus... I have no idea about hardware. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I have so little ideas about hardware. I am very happy that I didn't make a terrible choice with my laptop, which is, even though it's 4 years old now, I am able to run Elden Ring with fairly good settings on a laptop. Elden Ring is like the new Dark Souls, if you're not aware of that, and it has crazy graphic and CPU. And I have an i7 something, but I cannot tell what exactly. There was a website called processor benchmarking, which looked... CPU benchmark, was that it? No, I think that wasn't it. I think it was this one that I've used to find an okay-ish one. And you say you want... Yes. Oh, wait, what? It's in English, okay. So you want 13700K? Can't find it. No match. Great. Okay, so that didn't work. Yeah, other than that, I cannot help much. I think I used one of these benchmark tools. I think it was that one that I used, that I've shown just now. But I cannot promise 100%. Maybe it was this one. It's been a long time ago. CPU monkey. I think it was this one. This one looks familiar. Oh, is it? i7 13700 K versus T. Oh god, i7 13700 T on there. Does it show it? It doesn't have any benchmarks apparently. But does it? I have no idea. Yeah, but you will find something. What kind of games are you playing? Was it were you in the FPS part? 35 watts against 125 watts. Wow, that's a difference. In particular, it's a difference in how much heat it will emit. As far as I remember, recently I had to repair or clean my laptop, and the dude, seriously, the dude from the shop, I've never seen him before, right? But he was telling me everything about computers. Like, he really wanted to talk about computers and about that type of computer, and about all of the CPUs. They didn't really get better. All they did was getting more efficient. But getting more efficient also means they don't emit as much heat, which means longer lifetime, which means that one. Oh. And he was also competitive about it. He was super competitive about it. I let him talk, and he did a great job on repairing my computer. I gotta say that once. Or cleaning my computer. It runs so much smoother ever since I've cleaned it. I had to be very tolerant on not saying, dude, why are you telling this to me? I'm just here to repair my computer. Do your job. Then again, he had his fun. I learned something. I can. Who would have guessed that I could use it now? Right. Where was I? I was about to create this dude here, right? Why is it actually double escaping it? Why is it double escaping it? Shouldn't this be alright-ish? It's expecting a comma. Why? Wait, what? Oh, now it's able to parse it. Oh. Is it like template? How do I actually provide the template data then? Template. Oh no. Oh, I need another layer of indentation. Great. So, one more layer. Add some more parentheses to the pile. Template. Colon. And I think that's it. Without this one. This might be it. Watch it. An error occurred. Source cannot be empty. What is source? But we did this thing. We are closer. Oh, what did I do? Hey, I'm large. What happened? Why? What just happened? Camera, why are you large? Camera, be small. Thank you. Huh. No idea what happened there just now. Oh. Let's... Oh man. Gotta fix this. Yeah. Well, kind of. Like this. Sorry about that. I think I suppose I had my focus on accidentally on OBS and on the source, and then I hit the Control R to refresh this page, or Control F, which then probably just made it into full screen. That's probably what happened there. My face is large. Woo! My camera is also terrible, so I suppose it was super pixely, whatnot. Okay, so we need source now. Doesn't error occurred when calling the send email operation. Source cannot be empty. It doesn't have source inside of here. Do I have send email minus help? Not a thing? Is that a thing? No, it's not a thing. Source cannot be empty. Ah. Is it... It's the wrong one. It's also the wrong one. You're also the wrong one. Topic name, configuration set name. Do we need the configuration set name? No, right? Source cannot be empty. What's that supposed to mean? Maybe this template ARN is missing in here, but then it would have said so, right? Right? So let's find the template ARN. We can do that with the get templates or list templates API call, I suppose. So let's go here again, list template, create, delete. I think we can also just go inside of AWS, simple email templates. Or maybe we can't, because it doesn't show the ARN here. Create, delete, get email template by name. So AWS SES v2 get email template without the weird thingy. Get template. We will need the ARN or send email step, I think. There it is. It doesn't have an ARN. Well, that's a bummer. Where's my sent email? I just want to send an email. Come on. Feedback. Send from email address. Content. Structure, data, char set, body, raw, template. Template ARN. SES to get template ARN. This is the old version. So the AWS SES version 2 API specification states that for the send email method, the parameter object cannot contain a template object, which was what we're doing. This object in turn has a template ARN property, which is simply described as the ARN of the template. As the SES v2 API has no method defined which allow interaction with email templates compared to the other one. Where can I get this? Yeah, good question, my friend. Sad that it hasn't been answered in 2 years. Because this one doesn't list the ARN. We can try version 1. SES get a template, something with template, create template, delete template, get template. So let's copy this one. SES get template, template name. Yeah, that's still the same. Endpoint URL, color, blah blah blah, version. Nothing of interest. This one doesn't work either. It doesn't give us the identifier. Oh. Maybe we just don't need it? But it does say we are missing the source thingy thing. And email. Tag resource. Update contact. Update email template. Yeah, here it's also not using the ARN. So I suppose it's just identified via the template name, and this is probably just plain wrong. Destination, to address. The source cannot be empty mean. Is there anything? I think I checked this, right? Source is resource error, and it's the only one. Contacts. Contact. List management. Current syntax. An object used to specify a list or topic to which an email belongs, which will be used when a contact chooses to unsubscribe. Let's write some more here. List management options. Contact list name is equal to what he says. Does that help? Error code. Source cannot be empty. Come on. Am I using the right? Yeah, I'm using v2. Okay, version 2. Ah, come on. Source. Apply to address, empty return path. But we're not providing any of that. Come on, it can't be that hard, can it? Having a single email address can help. Okay, can we do that? 2. To email, maybe? Mail? Synopsis from email addresses. From... We can try that one. From email address identity ARN is equal to... What is my identity? Where's SES? SES, where did you go? There you are. There's my ARN. Like so. Probably best to use this, otherwise we get into trouble. Does that work? Man, it's so much guesswork. Why can't I not just provide a working example? Source cannot be empty. Is it this part that's erroring? What if I move this to the later on? Does that make a difference? No. It didn't. List management options, feedback, reply to addresses, content, version, profile, query, output. Configuration set name. This might be something. Name of the configuration set when sending the email. Sorry, that was loud. That was even loud for me. Configuration sets. Create a set. Configuration set. Default config set. I don't know. IP pool. I guess default. To zoom a bit. Tracking options. Not necessary. Transport layer security. Yeah. Yeah, always use SES. It's terrible that this is not a default option. Reputation metrics, we don't need those. Suppression list, we don't need those. Create the set. And there we have it. Where's the ARN? Come on, you gotta give me an ARN. Can't you? Configuration set name. Maybe it's just a name. After all. Where is it? Press default config set. Bams. Maybe this is what we're looking for. No. What? What? Maybe it's because we're still in sandbox mode? Is that an issue? Email templates. Source can't be empty. What's that supposed to mean? Didn't show anything important. Oh, very good. Oh. Oh. Do it again. No. I was hoping that it just hadn't applied the settings for the configuration set, but it didn't. Source cannot be empty. Do we have something like 2 addresses? Reply 2 addresses? Anything else? Let's add -- debug, and then I will go and run this on the other side. Because I don't know whether it's exposing anything important. Apparently it's written in Python. Request ID. Oh, that's a lot of output. There we go. So, all of those. Bug loading, JSON file. Bug arguments entered to CLI, all these. That's right. Or the dictionary. Debug. Debug, main thread. Or the dictionary of something something. There's a body. I see a post request. From email address identity. Date. So I receive, so it is sending a request, but it's getting back the response from AWS, from the API, that source cannot be empty. That sucks. I guess that's it for today. Judging from this. Let me clear. Done. I can show this again. Yeah. I don't know what exactly is the problem there. Yeah, I am in Germany right now. But I will be, hopefully, in Japan in not even a month. Yeah. Looking forward to that one. Oh, I hope it just goes through. Yeah, I hope I get my visa and so on. And the flight actually flies. This cannot be empty. Search, change the language from vn.com to DE. Is that your own website? Or why? You ask. Because you're using me as a VPN. Oh, let me move this over here just to see. DE subscript E. Oh, that didn't work. I spelled DE wrong. It's loading like forever. So, it's B. That didn't work. Beta. That didn't work. Apparently that's not an option. Yeah, unfortunately that wasn't an option. Yeah, a VPN would be useful for these kind of requests, right? Also for buying tickets. Oftentimes it's actually much cheaper to buy in the other country that you're aiming to go to instead of vice versa. For example, when I'm in Japan and I want to go back, I typically buy in Germany because the taxes are the prices are way better. Oh, a 3D printer, nice. Very nice. I recently saw somebody actually using this kind of modeling software for 3D that you use for 3D printers. That was pretty amazing. This is version 1. Yeah, you're welcome. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Illegal, he gets illegal address. Do they say something about source? Oh, here. The error could apply to the from, source, sender, or return path. Check in region. Identity 1, identity 2, identity 3. Yeah, address. By the way. Sorry about that. Getting tired. It's about time, I think. What exactly is the email source? Not the source code. Where do I find the email source? Hey! I am Shabili. Good to see you. A bell, sorry. It's not an I at the end. It is tea time. Yeah. I'm currently working on AWS. What I want to do is, on the one hand, just practice step functions in particular, and learn also the simple email service. So step functions is a way to orchestrate the stuff that happens one after another in AWS. For example, we can save something to the database, we can invoke some code, we can send an email and so on. And all of that we do with this editor instead of actually writing code, which is pretty neat. You can pretty much do this with business people, right? That's an option. And currently I'm stuck at sending emails. What we can try, at the very least. Let's do this. I don't know. I save this for now. We can execute this once more and see whether the save contact actually works. So I just need to find the right input. Doop, 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 doop. We don't need that anymore. We don't need you anymore. We don't need you anymore. This one, finally. And I want to send to TypeScript teatime at gmail.com. Put that there. And now we will execute this function that, first of all, saves something into DynamoDB, and then when it's trying to do something with our friend simple email service, it failed. Oh, I need to update the roles. seriously? Hey, cool. Very nice. Like the step functions or emails? Oh. Very nice. What a coincidence. Oh, do I have to continue streaming now? Damn it. Apply, and now I need to redo my roles right here. I think it had the wrong roles from before. Did I not just create this? Refresh. The emails. Ah yeah, very nice, very nice. I'm trying to send an email. Are you using version? So I've noticed there's version 1 and version 2. Which ones are you actually using? We're kind of looking into both while trying to kind of understand what's going on in a sense. What is this? Oh, that's our code. I want to execute. Start an execution. Or can I just redo the previous execution? We are currently running, unfortunately, into... So on the one hand, these permissions errors, but I've set up most things, I think, via the CLI now. So we created an email template with, I think, version 1. Maybe that's the issue? Ah, no, it still lists for version 2, so it should be fine. Fortunately. We created a contact list. We can list all the contents. We can list the contacts in the contact lists. We can list the contact lists, and we can also get the contacts inside of a list. Create a contact, but I am not able to actually send, unfortunately. What if I get a specific one? Maybe you can help me with, what does subscription status opt-out mean? Is it not? Does it mean? Sorry that I'm pushing you into answering all my questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, particularly about when it comes to other stuff, or more general stuff. Maybe I've noticed something. What a coincidence. I'm very happy. So far, it is very, very useful. So what I try to do is essentially get away from MailChimp, because I don't like their pricing model, and they're forced. If you don't pay, you have to put like what is it? Created or sent via MailChimp or something inside of the email, which is just ugly. So I try to create my own one. That's what I'm trying to do here. Can I just do new execution with this one? Yeah, that works. It still fails. An identity-based policy. So my step function is not able to access create contact. You got your first job recently. You're a bit hey, congratulations first of all. Yeah, that's only natural in a sense. So you're gonna be fine, believe me. They will push you. They will push your limits. but don't be afraid to ask. First of all, congratulations. That's a big step. That's a big step. Yep. Very nice, very nice. Very happy for you. They will push you, and in particular, at the very beginning, you have to learn how to learn in coding. Don't be afraid to Google stuff. Don't be afraid to ask your colleagues. One thing that is important, I find, is when you learn something, try to make notes so that you at least improve step by step. And you don't ask the same question like 10 times in a row. What did you share? View. It would be nice if you... Yeah, I cannot understand who that is. That's another streamer. I don't know. Why do I not have the right permissions, however? Create a new role. Permissions for the following. Oh! That's why. Oh, we have to do it ourselves. Oh man, that sucks. Okay, so we have to do some permission stuff now. Great. Yeah, it's IT staff in Japan. Oh, very nice. I'm not looking for anything, but I appreciate your effort. I appreciate your effort. Wait. I will just chill the 3 months. Japan has very, very hard work philosophy. You work like 10-12 hours, in particular when you're like a regular employee. You work like totally insane hours, and then you go home. You are not allowed to really take vacations, or many people are not allowed to take vacations because of social pressure. Taking vacation would cause trouble to the colleagues, so they don't do it. And the work philosophy is something that I'm very, very afraid of. I would probably never work in Japan for a Japanese company. The only thing that I can imagine is working for a Western company. But probably it's just better not to work there. Instead, I will just work for German companies or European companies. That's my plan. How do you actually refactor code? Refactoring is defined essentially as changing code to improve like readability, maintainability, extendability, all of these qualities that you want of your code, but do not change functionality. Oh, you have a job in first year university. Wow, that's something. Congrats on that. Yeah, you do not change functionality. So if you have a function like get random numbers, function get random numbers that receives some input n, which is the maximum, which is number, let's say, or the maximum number that you want, and maybe minimum number. And now you have an algorithm inside of here. Let me language mode JS. Language mode JS. Okay. It looks better, right? Oh, it's fine. It's TypeScript. Yes? So numbers are the type of your parameters, minimum and maximum. So you would call something like get random number of 1 and 10, and that gives you a random number between 1 and 10. And you have some algorithm inside of here, and at the very end you return the result. Algorithm to get a random number, and then you return the result. What refactoring does is you are allowed to change the algorithm, but you are not allowed to to change what this function does for the caller. So it should still be minimum 1 and maximum 10, like the parameters should not change. And what you get out of here is still the random number between 1 and 10. But how you actually calculate that is completely up to you. That would mean refactoring the get random number function. For example, well, if in JavaScript I could just write math.random of times this, I think, like this is like the range, and then you shift it by minimum, so you always get a number that is at least minimum. Math.random gives you a number between 0 and 1, so you have something that is at least minimum and at most maximum, because you have this minus, which is basically just a shift, times the number between 0 and 1. So this is a number, a floating point number between between minimum and maximum. But if you think, well, this is hard to read, let's extract this into a constant. This is refactoring. I'm not changing the functionality, but I'm still making the code more readable, depending on the viewer, whoever reads this. This is like the interval or the range, maybe, and this is the random between 0 and 1. Yeah, so now I've refactored my code. I did not change any functionality for the people that actually call my function, but I made it arguably more readable inside of here. And maybe also remove that part. Format. This also was a kind of refactoring, just changing the number of indentions in this case. So that's refactoring. Typically, refactoring can be done on multiple levels. You can do it on a completely architectural level. Like then if I have my fun stuff here. So first of all, does this make sense, what I've just explained? You change your functionality, you change your code, make it more readable, make it more extendable and whatnot, but you don't really change the functionality. Oftentimes, what you also see is renames of the function itself. So for example, in an IDE, you often have the key F2, screen share mode, screencast mode. I hit F2, and now if I change the name here, get random float, it changes all the callers as well, which is, depending on how you look at it, not a refactoring anymore, but sometimes still a refactoring. It depends on what you're building. Do your users see this part of the code, or do your users eventually see, like, they get an email, or do they, I don't know, they see a web view, a website or whatnot. It depends on the level of how you look at it, whether something is still a refactoring or not, in a sense. If I write a library that returns random numbers, then changing this name will break the library for the users. They have to change their code. So that would not be a refactoring. But if this is part of my code and I'm actually just writing a function that returns me a random number so I can do something else, so I'm the only person that actually uses it in a sense, I don't have a library that other people depend upon, then that would still kind of count as a refactoring. So refactoring is kind of a flexible term in that case. You always have to see it in the right scope, I would say. What does Wiki actually say? Wikipedia refactoring. That's German. So let's look at that one. It is the process of restructuring existing computer code, changing the factoring. Factoring, by the way, means you have a problem and you split it into different parts, into smaller problems that you can solve more easily. And factoring is exactly this split into smaller sub-problems, I think. Decomposition of factoring is breaking a complex problem or system into parts that are easier to conceive, understand, program, and maintain, probably it says. So, restructuring existing computer code without changing its external behavior. The important part is external. So, and the question is, what does external mean? That's where the context comes in. Yeah. Typically, you do it to improve design, structure, and/or implementation. So you could do something that actually improves memory efficiency, which is still a refactor. Well, it's on the brink of being a performance optimization versus a refactoring. There's a bit of leeway there. Yeah, very good question. Thank you. If you have anything else, feel free to ask. So we could, here for example, we could do, we have currently a functionality that subscribes users to a newsletter. And there are 1,000 ways to do this. So in this case, we have the problem that is subscribing to a newsletter. There are a million ways to do this. All of which, as long as you don't change the way that your user interacts with the web page, it's still a refactoring in a sense. Because it does not change for the user, which is in this case the external behavior that you don't need, that you're not allowed to change. But architecturally, you can change a lot. You can also change a lot on the design and the actual code level without changing anything to the UI for the user who wants to subscribe to your newsletter. So that would still be a refactoring, even though it's on a completely different level than what I was doing right here. Right. If there's anything else, feel free to ask or follow up thingies. Where were we? All right. We were not allowed to generate the permissions here. So we have to do those ourselves. SES access control docs and authorization reference. I think that's what we need. So that means I save this. Yeah, I got that one. I cannot create those. That's it. Okay, apparently there's an issue right now. No, it's absolutely right. All right. I'm just fiddling around, right? I love these kinds of questions. And most importantly, I love the interactions. is very important for me. I mean, I can do lots of this and nobody will understand it. So please ask questions. That's very, very useful. And also just general programming questions. That helps the stream a lot. So we have to do some fun stuff now, which is open this. Oh, why do I not have an... Oh, I'm locked out. Will you look at that? They locked me out. Let me log in again. I was about to finish actually, like an hour ago. Yeah, I think this is the point of time where I'm about to finish. All right, we looked at step functions today. I cannot show the screen anymore, unfortunately, because they locked me out for whatever reason. AWS, my cookie is expired or something. I don't know. Thank you so much for joining. You do work on the back end, and your back end needs to be service-based. Is it good to refactor it? It depends on your usage. It depends a lot on your usage. You will probably not be on your own to do the refactoring. I'm fairly sure there's somebody who is more experienced and tells you a bit more what actually needs to be done. Typically, you refactor when you need to improve something, when you need to touch it again. There are a couple of... There is like... Maybe this helps you. Martin Fowler... refactoring. There's a very, very good book. This one. It is slightly old by now, but they redid it, I think. I think they redid it. Yeah. This one. Martin Fowler, by the way, being a great source. And he has Martin Fowler refactoring flows. Yeah. Before you spend money, maybe take a look at that one. And this one being like a Java applet or something, where he's explaining different flows of how you ideally refactor code. And then just try it. Try it with your own project. Take an old project and change its code, improve its code without actually changing functionality-wise for the external stuff. So for the result that you actually want to do. Yeah. So this is this is a very, very good introduction, I think. To workflows, but you have to actually do some refactorings, I think, before you actually do anything else. I don't know. There's probably, before you buy the book, really, before you buy the book, there are a couple of... There was a very refactoring guru. This was a pretty good website. Start from the very beginning is probably the place where you want to start, why we're doing it, and then they give you technical, like a catalog of how to do specific changes, renaming a function, doing this, changing into a message observer pattern and whatnot. And basically, the refactoring guru is taken directly from the book that I shared. I won't lie to you. They've taken it directly out of there. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. This was TypeScript Tea Time with your host, Mirko. Our regular times are Wednesdays, 18 o'clock Central European Summertime. Currently, at least. It will change probably in 1 month. Because I'm moving places, eight time zones, and then times have to change. Other than that, I will be back most likely tomorrow with more step function fun. and maybe also AWS recognition. So we will do more AWS stuff in the coming days. Let's raid somebody. Finite is online. Yeah, let's give Finite a raid. Sweet. I wasn't aware that he's streaming on Friday. On Saturday. All right then. Thank you so much. If you've liked what you've seen, feel free to subscribe. And other than that, I hope to see ya next time. Look out.